Every day, the world seems busier, louder, more chaotic. Notifications ping incessantly, deadlines loom, and the news headlines grow more distressing. It's easy to feel overwhelmed, like you're trapped in a storm with no shelter. Yet, imagine if there were a way to find calm within that storm, to navigate the chaos without letting it sink you. This is the promise of Stoicism, a timeless philosophy. Stoicism teaches that true peace comes from inside you, not from controlling the unpredictable world around you. In the words of Stoic teacher Epictetus, we cannot control the external events around us, but we can control our reactions to them. Take a slow breath with me now. Feel the air fill your lungs and then release. In this moment, as brief as it is, you have control. Your thoughts and reactions are within your power, even when everything else isn't. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, reminded himself each day, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. That simple insight is revolutionary. It tells us that no matter how chaotic life gets, there is a calm center you can retreat to your own mind. Throughout this video, we will guide you gently through the ancient wisdom of Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, showing how their lessons apply to your 21st century life. You'll hear soothing narration and uplifting examples designed to motivate you without overwhelming. We'll break it into chapters so you can follow along, and we'll even include short pauses for reflection. By the end, you won't just understand Stoicism, you'll feel it helping you stay steady when the storm rages. First, let's briefly define Stoicism. At its core, Stoicism teaches that the only true good is virtue, qualities like wisdom, courage, justice, and self-control. Everything else, like wealth or fame, is an indifferent. It's not bad or good in itself, but we might prefer it or not. According to scholars, Stoicism is a type of eudaimonic virtue ethics, asserting that the practice of virtue is both necessary and sufficient to achieve happiness. In plain terms, living well means behaving well, regardless of externals. Because Stoics focus on virtue, they emphasize what's within our control. They categorically distinguish between what we can control, our thoughts, values, choices, and what we cannot, other people's actions, the weather, random events. Epictetus famously said, "Some things are in our control, and others not. Things in our control are opinion, pursuit, desire. Things not in our control are body, property, reputation." This isn't pessimism, it's empowerment. By accepting that things outside our control will inevitably change or be chaotic, we free ourselves from fear and frustration. Imagine being chased by uncertainties, job security, health, world crises. Stoicism teaches these are not things you can fully control. Worrying about them is like trying to control the wind. Instead, we focus our energy on the few things that respond: our intentions, our effort, our perspective. In this way, Stoicism is practical. As one modern Stoic blogger notes, it's simple but profound tools to face stress head-on. By clarifying this split between control and non-control, Stoics build resilience. You accept the outside chaos and refine the inside response. Let's take a walk in the footsteps of Marcus Aurelius. Imagine him centuries ago, emperor of Rome, leading armies, managing an empire, yet also dealing with plague, betrayal, and loss. How did he stay sane? In his private journal, Meditations, Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself of Stoic truths. He wrote to himself of the inner citadel, a calm space unaffected by turmoil. One powerful reflection of his, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. Picture saying this to yourself when an email inbox explodes or a crisis hits the news. It's like an anchor. You may not calm the storm, but you can steady your ship. Marcus also recorded moments of self-encouragement. When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive. This gratitude is profoundly calming, focusing on what we have: life, breath, love, rather than what we lack. In another entry, he scribbled a dismissal of anxiety. Today I escaped anxiety. Or no, I discarded it because it was within me, not outside. While we won't cite this quote directly, the idea is clear. Anxiety is often a product of our perceptions. Marcus recognized fear and worry as something he could put down. In that sense, he was a warrior against internal enemies. We learn from Marcus that even in the heat of chaos, the Stoic mind remains cool. His life wasn't easy, but his writings show equanimity. Today we apply this by pausing and choosing our response. When you feel stress rising, recall Marcus's wisdom: is the fear happening in reality or in my mind? Often, as Seneca said, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. In other words, our worries magnify threats. Notice this in yourself. By gently questioning anxious thoughts, you start to break their power. Seneca, another great Stoic, was an advisor to emperors and yet faced exile, sickness, and public scandal. His letters and essays are filled with practical advice for turbulent times. He warned against obsession with future anxieties. The greatest obstacle to living is expectancy, which wastes today. This teaches us to live now, because tomorrow is beyond our reach. Consider a common scene. You're anxious about the future, maybe health, career, or disaster. Seneca's insight is to shift focus back to today. Practice gratitude. Notice the air around you, the here and now. Marcus Aurelius and Seneca both stress how the mind often worse than reality. Seneca famously said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." We can cite this idea to remind ourselves that the fear created by our thoughts can be greater than any real event. Seneca also taught acceptance of uncertainty. He introduced the concept of amor fati, love of fate. The Stoics believed in embracing reality as it unfolds. As one guide explains, willing acceptance of the inevitable leads to harmony with the universe. Think of a flowing river. Water cannot fight its currents. It moves with them. So when life flows with change, new jobs, lost plans, unexpected events, Stoicism invites us to do the same. We say, "It is what it is," not in resignation, but in relaxed acceptance. This doesn't mean we become passive. Instead, acceptance clears our mind of resistance so we can act where it matters, on the few things we do control. Epictetus was born a slave, yet he rose to become a great teacher of Stoicism. His freedom, he taught, came not from changing his chains, but changing his inner world. Epictetus' most famous lesson is the dichotomy of control. In his discourses he advised, "The chief task in life is this, to identify and separate matters so that you can say which are externals, not under your control, and which are under your control. Where do I look for good and evil? Not to uncontrollable externals, but within myself, to the choices that are my own." This can be the most empowering truth of Stoicism. There is a sense of ultimate freedom in recognizing that every day, your choices, attitudes, and values remain up to you. Imagine a situation you cannot immediately change: a crowd at work, a health scare, global unrest. Epictetus would point to your breathing, your perspective. Just this moment, you can choose to breathe deeply, to recall positive thoughts, to practice patience. By doing so, you assert control where it counts. He also taught simple maxims like, "Only the educated are free," meaning that self-knowledge liberates you from fear. Epictetus's words remind us that everything that truly matters lives inside. We might not pick our starting hand in life, but we hold the cards for how we play it. A modern table in a Stoic guide even shows us daily practices that strengthen this inner domain: mindful breathing to calm stress, meditation for inner peace, observing thoughts non-judgmentally to build resilience. These practices train us to respond to challenges with clarity instead of panic. Each exercise is a small victory. We show ourselves we can choose calm. Over time, like a muscle, that discipline grows. One of the greatest gifts of Stoicism is the power of now. Our mind tends to time travel into the past with regret or the future with dread. Stoics warn this habit is a thief of peace. Seneca said, "Life is long if you know how to use it," meaning the present moment is all we truly have. When we fully inhabit now, anxiety has no foothold and regrets dissolve. Let's practice notice this very second. Feel the chair under you, the air on your skin. Hear a distant sound. These sensations ground you in the present. Marcus Aurelius and other Stoics suggest doing this daily. They also remind us of mortality, memento mori, to appreciate each moment, but not to scare us, rather to prioritize life. When we remember life is finite, we value the present even more. For example, one guide explains how tucking your child into bed, while remembering one day you won't be there, can intensify gratitude. That Stoic exercise isn't meant to depress you, it's meant to make this bedtime magical by appreciating it. Similarly, when you greet the day, Marcus said to think of it as a privilege to be alive. Starting the morning with that thought is a Stoic reminder. Peace can begin right now with a deep breath of gratitude. Life will shake us. Loved ones get sick. We lose jobs. Plans derail. Stoicism doesn't tell us these events don't hurt. It tells us how we can endure with dignity and hope. The Stoics knew that resilience means feeling emotions deeply but not being ruled by them. Seneca observed that anger, if unchecked, is often more harmful than the injury that caused it. When something upsets you today, ask, is this anger making me worse off? You might realize it's draining and counterproductive. Instead, Stoicism teaches us to transform anger or fear into action or understanding. It's like alchemy, turn lead into gold. That's why Marcus wrote of viewing obstacles as opportunities. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Though we don't have that quote on our list, the idea fits perfectly. Each challenge is a chance to grow. Also remember Epictetus's advice: choose your desire wisely. If we desire only what virtue and effort bring, we won't be disappointed by lost promotions, criticism, or even fate's whims. For example, don't hanker after what you cannot have. Desire only what you already control is a Stoic attitude. When you catch yourself panicking or longing, pause, check if it's something outside your control. If so, gently shift focus to what is in your power, maybe learning a new skill, reaching out for support, or just taking a quiet moment to breathe. By practicing these shifts regularly, you build emotional resilience. You won't eliminate sadness or grief. Stoics don't deny these, but you won't let them become unmanageable. You learn to ride the waves with more balance. This is how Stoicism doesn't promise a life without hardship. Instead, it equips you with the tools to face hardship with a calm heart. Now let's get practical with some daily habits. Stoicism isn't just philosophy, it's a way of living. The Stoics themselves used exercises, journaling thoughts at night, mentally rehearsing adversity in the morning, premeditatio malorum, and taking moments to reset. Here are some steps you can follow. Morning reflection. When you wake, quietly appreciate being alive. Remember Marcus's grateful thought. Breath, senses, love. This sets a positive tone. Dichotomy check. Throughout the day, when you feel frustration building, traffic jam, a rude email, quickly categorize, is this under my control? If no, remind yourself to let it go. If yes, act constructively. Epictetus' words help here. Mindful breathing. Whenever anxiety hits, pause for 3 deep breaths. Breathe in peace, exhale tension. Practicing mindful breathing literally calms the mind and reduces stress, just as modern guides suggest. Journaling. At night, write 1-2 paragraphs. The Romans did this too. See Marcus's Meditations. You can write down what you're grateful for and what upset you, analyzing if the worry was justified. Over time, you'll notice the recurring themes and how often worst fears didn't come true. Virtue check. Before acting, ask, is this wise, just, courageous, or disciplined? Let these virtues guide small choices, pausing before a knee-jerk reaction, choosing honesty, or doing something kind for someone. This keeps your character strong, as Stoics always stressed. These aren't difficult tasks, but they must be done consistently. Imagine strengthening a muscle. Each rep is small, but over weeks and months, you gain power. Similarly, incorporating these Stoic practices forms a mental fitness routine. The Orion Philosophy Guide shows that even simple acts, mindful walking, observing thoughts, can promote emotional resilience and inner peace. Over time, your mind becomes your ally, not a runaway train. Stoicism was written in ancient Rome, but its lessons shine in our high-tech world. We face digital noise, endless news, social media drama, push notifications. Marcus Aurelius himself warned against wasting life speculating about others. Today, that translates to not losing sleep over every headline or online conflict. Remember his advice: gossip and fear-mongering distract us from our own values. Consider global crises, pandemics, climate change, conflict. Stoicism says, you can't control these big storms, but you can control your raft. Marcus taught, you have power over your mind, not outside events. We might follow health guidelines or do our small part, but then we must accept the larger chaos. This isn't passive, it's pragmatic. Stoicism encourages action where it's effective, like following safety measures, and serenity about what you can't fix, like when the sky falls outside your window. In your own life, Stoicism translates to things like facing a busy schedule without panic, dealing with social anxiety by reminding yourself you control your reactions, or handling criticism by focusing on improvement rather than hurt. People are starting to recognize this. Cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, a modern therapy, actually grew out of Stoic ideas. It teaches that thoughts shape feelings. The IEP notes Stoicism had an early 21st century revival as a practical philosophy associated with cognitive behavioral therapy. You're literally applying science-backed methods today that the Stoics began millennia ago. So when you feel overwhelmed by modern stressors, remember Stoicism's core: focus on today, on what you can influence. One narrative we all share now is that of constant change. Stoic wisdom handles change. Marcus asked rhetorically in Meditations why we fear change, since all existence is change. The seasons change. Food cooks. Even our bodies transform. You are part of nature's flow. Embrace it, and you find peace. As our journey through Stoicism ends, take a moment to absorb how far you've come in this talk. We began amid chaos, and now you have tools and perspective to be calmer. Remember the Stoic champions: Marcus Aurelius, who managed an empire without losing his soul; Seneca, who stayed wise through exile; Epictetus, who found freedom in chains. Their lessons on focusing on the controllable, embracing fate, and practicing virtue are timeless. Whenever life feels chaotic, return to your inner citadel. Breathe deeply and remind yourself, "This too shall pass, and I am strong." Marcus Aurelius said, "Men exist for the sake of one another. Teach them or bear with them." This reminds us to act with kindness and patience, even when provoked. Being stoic doesn't make you cold. It makes you grounded, compassionate, and resilient. In the words of the Greeks, through eudaimonia, flourishing, Stoicism shows us how to live fully. A Stoic life isn't about being unaffected. It's about being fully present and composed amid ups and downs. You have the power to choose your attitude. The Stoic mindset is like a pair of glasses that filters chaos into opportunity, fear into focus, and anger into action. As we close, practice one final Stoic exercise. Set an intention for today and tomorrow. It could be as simple as "I will remain calm during today's challenges," or "I will focus on kindness." Notice how this calm resolve resonates in your heart. Let the wisdom of these Stoics guide you when doubt creeps in. Thank you for listening with an open mind. If the insights touched you, share this video to spread peace in chaos, and hit subscribe for more motivational content. Remember, the storm outside might be wild, but your mind can remain a serene harbor. You are capable of incredible resilience. Take another deep breath and step forward with courage and calm, carrying the Stoic light into each new day.